I'm Walter Harvey. I'm a son of the city of Milwaukee for the last 62 years. 35 of those years I've served an inner city congregation. And the church at its height was 1,000 members. Today it's over 100 years old. But it was several years ago that I realized that our church died. And it didn't die because of old age like people do, but churches die for a different reason. They die in influence and impact in the eyes of the unchurched. And our church died because we had failed to build meaningful relationships with the people in our own community. We had failed to meet their human felt needs, and we had failed to plant a gospel that was good news to them. My discoveries came through crisis. It was August 13th in 2016, a hot summer afternoon, when Seville Smith was shot and killed just 3 short blocks from our campus. And that evening, unrest and chaos just began to take rage within our community. Buildings burned, police cars were overturned, looting, rioting, chaos. And as the pastor who was closest in proximity to the pain and who had the largest church, people began calling me saying, "Walter, what are you going to do? Whatever you do, we're going to be with you." So courageously but fearfully, I assembled a group of pastors and parishioners, and we walked down to the scene of the unrest. And there was one young man who was a leader of the group that was there, who asked me some riveting questions that sifted my motives, sifted my identity, sifted my priorities, sifted my methods and my solidarity. Why are you here? Why are you allowing the police to use your parking lot as a command post to harass us? And the most riveting question of all, where the hell has the church been? See, that last question packed a punch that awakened within me the fact that we were absent from the pain in the lives of the people in our very own community. That hot August night, I repented. We repented, and the WI+H movement was born. WI+H is a disciple-making movement that invites Christ followers to be with Jesus in tough places, to be with him in urban pain points. Our vision is that every urban pain point would be transformed by an active faith community that's doing life with the people in those places. How do we live this mission? Very simply. We come alongside and inspire and support faith leaders that are in these communities, multi-ethnic, multi-denominational leaders, and help them to imagine new possibilities. We help them to take action and to lead change so that these communities are transformed from the inside out. I didn't learn this lesson until the crisis occurred. I learned that it's hard to develop relationship with people in places unless we are engaged up close and personal in their lives. I mean, isn't that what Jesus did? He was with people in the midst of their pain. He wept over people and places up close in proximity. Now, in my efforts in my 35 years as a pastor, I tried to get people to come into the building. And even after that hot August night, I used other methods that we call outreach. Now, outreach is good. Everybody loves to get free stuff. But outreach is limited. It's limited in its impact. It's limited in its sustainability. It can develop a dependent relationship. It's mostly transactional. And if I would be honest, we did it on our terms, according to our schedule. And we very rarely used the community assets and stakeholders that were already in the community. We acted like we knew what was best for the community. Now, outreach has some positive benefits, but it doesn't guarantee that you're making disciples. I think there's a better way, and it's called being with. That's what Jesus did. With is really an in-reach approach. And in-reach says, as opposed to outreach, in-reach says, I don't just want to give you something. I want to understand why your need exists. I want to understand the systems and the structures that have created the pain in your life. And I want to be with you and co-create strategies that help bring you up and out of that pain. So as we build relationship with people, we're finding that it can lead to evangelism. It can lead to discipleship, which can lead to communities, which can lead to networks of business and churches that are transforming those very neighborhoods. In 2016, the WI+H Movement was born in me. And it was at that time that I began actively beginning a succession plan as a lead pastor so that we could bring about change and transformation. Through people like Maurice Wentz, who's an ordinary guy in our congregation who was with me in 2016, and he listened, he learned, and he lamented with me as we heard the pain expressed by the crowd of people that were frustrated. Maurice is a real estate developer, and he has used his business acumen to acquire properties in the neighborhood of our church. During the pandemic, we opened up the Upstart Kitchen, which is Milwaukee's first commercial incubation kitchen for food entrepreneurs. Today, there are 27 licensed food, culinary artists, and food truck owners that are preparing their meals, each one with 1 to 3 employees. Last month, Maurice opened up the Sherman Park grocery store to alleviate the pain of food disparities right in the midst of a food desert. Later this year, the Clean Laundry will open up next door to the church that will be staffed by a manager who's really a church planner, that every day he's having spiritual conversations that leads to relationships, that leads to discipleship, that can lead to community, that can lead to networks of other business and churches. We've already launched dozens of micro-church neighborhood groups that are praying, caring, and sharing for their community. Perichoresis is the word that describes the unique unity and dance of the triune God. We join God in the dance in these dark and dangerous places. And we want to invite you to walk with us and dance with us in 2023 as we seek to launch the WI+H Movement in 10 new cities. We want you to help co-create this vision with us. Help us identify where these cities are. Every city requires about $20,000 of investment. What we do is in a day and a half, we take pastors who want to work together to see a gospel saturation through a ministry studio. After the studio, we invite them to a 12-month cohort process so they can work together and learn together and see that saturation occur. We invite you to help us use business as a tool of justice in these communities, and also help us create a tool called Living Justice, which is a cultural competency tool, so that the church can demonstrate that we truly love our neighbor when and if the next Seville Smith or George Floyd moment happens in our communities. I think the biggest question that's facing the church today is not what we're going to do, but is who are you with? Thank you.